My name is Ian and welcome to Planted. I've been growing plants for decades, and in this video I want to share with you some plant stories, why they grow, how they grow, and how they can help you. Now maybe you're one of those people that is annually replanting plants that died from the previous year. That is not normal, and this video is specifically for you. Let's go. Now this plant is really special. It's called a Datura, and I bought the plant 4 years ago, and I put it in my garden. I planted it just the other side of this wooden fence. Every year it sets seeds, and I've never had to plant it again because the seeds are viable from year to year. Now all I have to do is look to find a couple of seedlings that are in the right place and leave them, and that's exactly what I've done here. This plant is growing in nothing. There's kind of a concrete gap, and that's where that seed has managed to put down roots, and we get these beautiful flowers. This is the ultimate free plant. I've done nothing. Didn't buy it, didn't sow it, didn't plant it, and yet here it is. And this plant will get to about 3 feet high and 4 feet across and have copious amounts of these flowers, which have a spectacular fragrance. So this is Datura, a freebie if you know what to look for. Now my garden this year really has filled out beautifully, and most of it is to do with the plants that I choose. They are faster growing, a little more exotic, a little more tropical, and that's how you get this beautiful, full, healthy look. Now beside me I've got 2 plants here, and this is the trick. There's the metal frame, there is this remarkable plant which is called Aristolochia, and it's gigantea, and just look at this flower. I had this flower earlier this year, but I knew that that flower would come and go, and I hope to get lots more of them. So I also planted through it this plant. This is a plant called Thunbergia. I bought this for $6, and I planted it on the other side of this frame, knowing that it would grow through the Aristolochia. So now I can't talk about plants growing well without mentioning this beautiful banana. You can see here, look at that foliage. It is just remarkable. All of that is brand new this year. Starts in March, early April. And what I want to do is come all the way down, and I want to show you these little pups. These are the new side shoots that you can harvest later this fall or maybe even next year, and they'll grow beautifully in your garden. Let's go and have a look. So look how substantial these branches are. These are the corms or stems. This is very rapid growth, very full. So these are the pups that you can cut back there. Make sure you've got some root on it. Stick it in a pot, probably for a year. Of course you could plant it, but you want to really get that root growth growing nicely for you, and you'll have yourself a brand new little plant. Now next up we've got Dahlia, and you might think that this is no big deal, but I really want to make the point here. This is a Dahlia leaf from a plant that I've had for a couple of years. I've kept the tubers year in, year out. If you look closely you can see this mottling. There's a little bit of it right there. See how it's very pale and mottled? This has got a virus, and it doesn't kill the plant, but it debilitates it. And here's the leaf from a Dahlia that was brand new this year from a new vendor. And you can see very clearly the difference in color. Has no virus, has a virus. And what it means is that this has got to work extra hard to set flowers. Whereas this one is going to go gangbusters with so many flowers you won't know what's happened. Now in a previous video I showed you how I divided this ajuga, it's called black scallop, into individual plants, and I thought I'd give you a nice close-up of how healthy it is. It's rooted through, it's starting to put on flowers that you see here, and of the clumps that got divided, they've all grown, every single one of them. And this is a wonderful way to buy a nice choice plant, divide it, and then add it to your garden in a sizable quantity. Now next up is our beautiful everlasting sweet pea. This plant is a picture in early July, covered in these white pea-like flowers. Now what makes this everlasting is that the plant does not die completely. It dies back to a crown that's safe in the ground, and every year it puts out huge amounts of these seed pods. Now, I'm not for one moment going to condone that you should go out stealing seeds, but you might be very judicious and polite and ask if you can take a few seeds. But the best place to get the seeds is way down here. Now what's happening is that this sidewalk gets hot and radiates heat, and that heat is then going into the seed pods and it ripens them. So these brown seed pods, it's not quite rattly yet, these need a little bit longer, but this brown seed pod has got the chances of having a very viable seed in it. I want to make the comparison now of growing plants in the ground or growing plants in the pot. Now growing in a pot is very convenient. You can move the pot to where you want it, you can grow it on, and it's great to place on a deck or a patio. At the top of my steps here I've got a large pot. This is called a deck box. It's a little bit less than 2 feet long, it's about 10 inches wide, and about 8 inches deep. This is a good sized container with a lot of growing medium in it, and I've got growing in it 2 of my beautiful corkscrew vines, and lots of growth, and it is in great condition, and it's just set little flower buds. Now there used to be 3 in here, that's how I overwintered it, and I dug 1 out back in April and I put it in the ground. And I want to show you how that is so much more advanced than this one, because it's in the ground. It doesn't dry out, it's got a nice steady supply of nutrients. So let me show you what that one looks like. So this plant is in the ground without any interruption to water supply or nutrients. A substantial root run, larger than the other plant, and just copious amounts of flowers. So the story here is, if you can plant in the ground, that's exactly where you should plant. And growing in pots really should be as a very useful but secondary tool. This is a plant called Cypress King Tut, very architectural and a really interesting way of propagating itself. Got a nice central stem, and then it explodes into an umbrella. What the plant does is leapfrog over the ground, and you can see here we've got a stem. Not this one, but this one. This is grown up, and then it's landed in the soil, it's put out roots, and now it's growing again. So we now have a little free pup that would grow beautifully. And this is completely normal, so you can expect this one to grow up, and then it might go down here and root. And it did that all by itself. I think that's just amazing. As you get better with plants, having the ability to help your plants propagate to get free plants is a wonderful skill. And finally, we have this little thyme. Now, I've grown this one from seed, and I showed you that in a previous video. But here's a little dwarf one, looking just beautiful. So this was planted in between my flagstone slabs, and you can see how it's now gradually encroaching this way. As that grows this way, I will remove this and let this plant keep on going. So clearly this plant has got a good root system, it's very happy, it's ideal location, and with it being just under this area here, it doesn't get trampled as much as it will take some trampling, but it's not getting squashed. So this is putting out its little side shoots, which make me think he's a very happy plant. So that's it. Thank you so much for watching Planted with Ian Cooke. Tell your friends, tell your family, and have confidence to grow plants. Get them on their own roots, give them ideal growing conditions, and they will thrive for you. Good luck.